What is up, folks? Welcome again to another edition of Let's Chat with me, Meor Addelan. It has been so bad that right now the world is actually opening up its eyes for something that is actually very well known, something that we should be very much involved with, very much understand what the situation is. And I'm actually talking about what happened in the United States of America, where, a lot of things has happened, a lot of chaotic things has happened. Chaos has actually happened in the States because of the different kind of color that you may have. But it took so long of a time for us citizens of the world to finally realize how serious this topic is and how serious this whole thing has become. And to discuss more about what I'm talking about here, I have with me a good friend of mine who is a radio and TV personality. He also actually admitted that he's a bit of a cuckoo. Ladies and gents, may I invite to you JJ. What's up, man? JJ.
What's up, man? How are you? How's
I'm
everything, man?
I'm doing fine, man. I'm doing fine. A different shade of gray, as I mentioned earlier on top of the show. A lot of things has happened. Specifically, what happened in the States, where there was police brutality and there was racism against the blacks, against the African Americans down in the States, and the repercussions of it. Whatever happened in the States propelled not just within its own country but all throughout the world. We saw a lot of things that's happening in the UK, in Australia. Demonstrations were happening in Germany and everything. I just want to ask you, why did it take that significant of an event for people to finally open their eyes and talk about this freely, JJ?
The truth is, you can not blame. You can actually credit this to the pandemic, the whole COVID-19. Why I say you can credit it to the COVID-19? Besides making everyone on a level playing field, the rich and powerful, even to the poor, everyone became human again. So that humanity, a lot of people realize. So that's one thing. And the second thing that the pandemic did that helped highlight this more is paused everyone. So everyone was at a pause, everyone was looking, and everyone was listening. The difference is before this, everyone was busy with your life. Everyone's busy with the rat race, busy with whatever you need to do. And if you have a cause that you feel like important, you tend to spend a bit of your time on it. But because of this pandemic, there's nothing else to do. You put 100% of your focus on it. So that's why it became bigger.
So basically, what you're trying to say is that the fact that we have nothing else to ponder on, nothing else to concentrate on, too much time on our hands, hence why we're giving this more attention. Now, isn't that just not good? I mean, in regards of, being responsible, being a proper human being, you
No,
don't need,
it's
a free time
it's
to give your concentration, isn't it?
no, but that's human. We love to come up with excuses to stop ourselves from doing something. We always procrastinate. We come up with different answers to why stuff happen. We can also ignore other people's problems because that doesn't involve me. So jangan sibuk. So you tend to stick to your lane. But all of a sudden, everyone is on the same level playing field. Then all of a sudden, the sentiment of the world was we have to look out for each other rather than just look out for number one, don't care about everyone else. But the pandemic made everyone go, look, we've got to look out for each other. And that's why this door is open.
Okay. Again, we know for a fact that in the States, okay, let's just start in the States because, again, in Malaysia, we
Yep.
do have our own problems and everything. But I just want to highlight whatever happens in the state. Racism in the United States of America has been going on for the longest time. And it has been even
Correct.
highlighted not just by the commoners, not by the normal people, but by celebrities as well, by sports people in the NFL. They always highlight this matter that there's always favoritism towards the white folks versus the black folks, for instance. And
Correct.
coming back and putting it back to the situation over there, who is there to blame actually? I mean, like, is it just the fundamentals of human beings? Is it our culture? Is it our parents, may I say it, who's actually instilling
Mm,
this particular, bad, I
that,
mean, thing?
it, it's part of the problem. If
Mm,
you really want to boil down to the fact of the matter is all to do with marketing. Okay, when you talk about
mm,
marketing, when I say marketing, it's like this. If for hundreds of years you market a certain race as the bad guy, watch out for these people, they are bad, then you have things like in America, they had this stop and frisk, where police can just stop people and frisk them. Now, if you do that more to black people, in your eyes, when you walk by, you've trained yourself to think if cops stop someone, they did something wrong. No matter what, even if they're innocent, if you see a cop stop, they must have done something to trigger that. But if they are systematically targeted for so that they can be harassed, eventually the norm of all black people are bad becomes a idea that it's hard fast in a lot of people's minds, because you're like, I see it happen all the time, so it must be true. So because of that, the parents will tell their kids, not because they're racist, it's because this is how they grew up. They didn't bother to find out more about it, and it became a norm. So if you normalize bad behavior, it slowly becomes bigger and bigger, bigger. You're talking about 400 years they've got here, you know. So it's a built up of like years and years. Jim Crow, there's so many things that happen there.
Yeah, and that kind of a mindset again, it goes directly in your brain, because the fact that if you've been practicing it, I mean, same as like a simple thing as a culture, like opening doors, for instance, that's a good culture to have, right? Opening doors, being a gentleman. But that thing actually was like things that has been done 200-300 years ago, and how it has been developed to be a good manner. Same thing with racism, because again, it's being instilled in your mind every single day. And coming back to Malaysia, how the situation is in Malaysia. I wanna admit something here, because I also am guilty in that sense, where I was being brought up, or the surroundings of me being brought up and said that, oh, don't go close to that black man. He's from Africa. He must be somebody bad. He must be somebody who is a criminal and everything. But truth of the matter is, he might not be. But why do we have to have that mindset? First of all, that convict him immediately that he's guilty. That's not the right way. Definitely, right?
Hollywood has done that, dude, because we grew up where you know, when you grew up Hollywood, the black people were the bad guys. Then it became the Russians. Then now it's the Middle East people. So you know, it's just Hollywood made it normal for us to black guy bad. That's why they're bad, because that's how it is. Then of course, then you highlight music, you know, gangster rap and all that. But the truth is, rap. If you look at the culture of rap was just the poetry from the streets talking about life, of how reality was. But of course, there's anger in it because they're angry, so that's why it came off wrong. But that's the thing. It's, if you look at it, it's just because we're conditioned that way. If the norm is normally like that, that's what will happen. Our mentality will follow the norm. So we have to become bigger, where we've got to question the norms now. We have to ask, like, if most of the time, I think racism and everything boils from fear. I don't know, therefore I'm scared, therefore must be true. But if you actually take the time and bother to find out about someone, speak to them, you realize there's good people, and that stereotypes doesn't fit. Of course, there are exceptions to that. Of course, there are bad people, but don't make all bad people the same race or religion. That's just wrong.
Yeah. No, it's very wrong for us to compartmentalize and to distinguish these people just because of the skin of the color, just because of their background, just because of where they come from. Because definitely it's never going to be the case. Yes, granted, 1% may be the bad apple in all of this, you know, full greatness of the redness of apple. I'm hungry. I'm so sorry. But yeah, it is something that we should not actually, you know, just put it down on pen and paper saying that, okay, you're bad because your race is bad. Because it's just not true.
Correct.
I just want to take you back. I mean, like, again, we come from the same era, JJ. Way back in the early 80s to the late 90s. We were brought up in a very multicultural Malaysia as we know it, as we were taught.
Correct.
You know, your Ali, Achong, and Raju in our textbooks and everything. We were brought up being friends with all different kind of races. You know, Indians, Malays, Chinese, you name it. We are always friends. But you don't see that much anymore right now, if I may say so. There's a bit of a shift. I don't know, maybe it's just me, maybe it's just how the world works right now. But what do you think about this?
I think it is true, because a divided society is an easier to control society. So If people want to have power, it's just divide people, simple, then you have power. But what happens now is, the funny part is, we live in a day, an age of internet, and click of a button you can get information, but we don't bother to get that information, don't bother to find out the truth about people, don't find out about the struggles of people. We just look at everything from the filter of our own reality and do not accept any other reality. And that's why we're slowly going down that path. I worry for Malaysia and my kids if we go down the path of I'm right and you are wrong. That's why I started with the different shade of gray. Besides talking about racism, I also want to say right and wrong is not black and white. It's gray. What could be right for someone could be wrong for someone. And it doesn't mean they cannot be friends. If you find a gray area, you can be friends. But unfortunately, now we tend to be very divisive, where we go, oh, if you are black, I am white, I don't want a friend.
Yeah.
You know,
It's my way or the
cannot
highway,
accept.
that kind of mentality,
Correct.
isn't it?
Correct. It's ridiculous. It shouldn't be that way. It's gray. There's a middle ground to be found.
So what are we to tell our younglings? What are we to tell our next generation, your kids, my kids, these kids who are so innocent and ready to be molded? What are we to tell them?
Judge people based on their actions, not because of who they follow, who they like, what shoes they wear, what clothes they wear. Don't judge by appearance, judge by actions and words. If the guy spews out hate and is physically bad, is in other words hurts people, then they're bad. Okay, but
as simple as it is, isn't it?
it's simple. It's not rocket science. It's simple, but unfortunately now we have that filter system before you go to that actual truth, where if your actions and words is bad, you are bad. No, now you go, is he this? Is he this? Is he this? Then only you ask, is he bad? So you have all these other things. The weird part is, because of that way of filtering, you've got bad people who are your friends. Why? Because you are part of my clique. You believe in my
you're part of the posse,
following.
The cool
posse.
people.
So if you're part of my posse, even though you're a bad person, I don't care. You're part of my posse. Rather than bad people bad, good people good. And bad, I'm talking about physically. Don't hate that fella. That fella is thorough. Hurt him and then physically punch. Those are bad people. As long as you say that you are dominant and the other person is horrible, you are horrible. You know what I mean? You cannot say that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can't just like make exceptions and trying to say that you're the cool one. So listen to me because I dictate whatever's happening. I mean, like that's a part of the leader, and the leader needs to show the true characteristics of the leader moving forward. Just a quick one, JJ, a different shade of gray. What is it all about? Again, you have just touched it briefly.
Okay. So like I said, the fear is the reason why racism and a lot of bad things happen. So what I'm trying to do with a different shade of gray is, I always say we are all part of the human race. We're just a different shade of gray. Different shade of gray. When you're a black and white picture, all of us just different shade of gray. So what I'm trying to do is put it on a t-shirt and sell it. But I'm going to put at a specific price where it's cost price and everything is covered for the t-shirt and delivery. But I'm going to ask people to give extra. What I'm going to do with extra is I'm going to fund creators, musicians, writers, video people to create content that will show different races in different languages so we understand each other better. Because at the moment, it's like, I don't know where to go. I'm going to create an avenue for you to go and learn about each other.
Lovely. I mean, talking about an activist, you've been very busy, JJ. Thank you so much for being on Let's Chat. It has been definitely fruitful, or whatever it is that discussed. We hope that moving forward, people are more comfortable in opening up these kind of discussions. It may be a bit sensitive, but if we don't talk about it, if we don't debate about it, it will never arise and become something that people actually understand. Thanks a lot, JJ, for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Cheers, guys. That was JJ talking about a different shade of gray. Hope it was a very fruitful discussion for you guys as well. Hope you are able to actually understand more and do check out JJ and follow his cause. It's actually a very good cause. And that's it from me, folks, from Let's Chat. Hope to see you guys soon on our next episode. Take care, guys. Cheers.